What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Clown Questions, the show where there are no dumb questions. I'm your host, Matt K. Maurer, and the question on my mind today is, did Michigan cheat again? I'll attempt to answer that question in addition to some others. We'll have a first interruption with Rob Gronkowski today, top 10 Goosebump moments of the week, and another TNF Thursday night football pick for y'all. So, interesting show today. So who's down to clown?
That's a clown question, bro.
So did Michigan cheat again? And this question's super awkward because, again, I love to make light of things, but then after the news dropped and all the rumors started swirling, there was some more stuff that's you don't really want to make light of. I even wrote a note at the top of my notes when I was preparing the show of this week. Be kind, less roasts and more honey roasts. We got too many roasts going around. You gotta build people up. Positivity, like the positivity rabbit the Eagles installed in their locker room to try and build morale. I need more honey roasts, more complimenting of players, less denigrating people. I guess the Goosebump moments of the week are the only, I'm celebrating people's achievements there. I need to do more of that. But unfortunately, the dicey subject to start off this show is, did Michigan cheat again? They did on two accounts. One was their coach and one was the organization themselves. So let me get into that. If you didn't hear the news, Michigan unfortunately had to fire their head coach, Sharon Moore, amid an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. Now would be a great time to say, I think in a previous show I called Sharon Moore Shea Serrano. I don't know how I was that far off, but yeah, Sharon, now I will properly say your name and get into something. If you're Sharon Moore listening to this, I would probably turn it off. You really don't want to hear what I have to say about this. But yeah, Sharon Moore, and these are sort of rumors, sort of not. We've had actual reporters say, because obviously the first question after Sharon Moore gets fired is why? Because Michigan was fine this year. They were good, ranked team. Obviously they got dominated by Ohio State, but I don't think anyone was calling for Sharon's job until this inappropriate relationship with a staff member was revealed. Essentially, Sharon got caught cavorting with a subordinate, I believe, to put it into corporate terms. Do we have another Ime Udoka situation on our hands? Unfortunately, I think we do. And if you're not familiar with the Ime Udoka situation, the Broncos waived Mercedes Lewis. Shout out Big Dog. He still played this year. Seahawks waived Cam Akers and Shaq Griffin. Sorry, this is just a random notification I got. But yeah, if you're not familiar with the Ime Udoka situation, former Celtics head coach got fired. For the longest time, everyone's like, why did he get fired? The Celtics were good. They never really gave us a reason. And I don't know if these were rumors. I don't know if these rumors were ever confirmed, but word on the street was Ime Udoka had sex with an executive on the Celtics' wife. And that's not really what Sharon did here, but unfortunately, Sharon does have a wife. So count one of Michigan cheating. Obviously, they had all the Harbaugh stuff. Harbaugh's not allowed in college football for 10 years or something. But yeah, it's starting to look like Sharon probably cheated on his wife. Here's a statement from Michigan Athletic Director Ward Manuel. head football coach Sharon Moore has been terminated with cause, effective immediately. Following a university investigation, credible evidence was found that Coach Moore engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a staff member. This conduct constitutes a clear violation of university policy, and maintains zero tolerance for such behavior. Biff Poggi has been appointed head football coach in an interim capacity effective immediately. Okay, so not a rumor. Definitely not a rumor. The athletic director does not want to say this. The athletic director, most athletic directors, whether you want to say they're corrupt or not, I think most probably would brush this story under the rug if they could. And you could argue they did. So again, yes, one count of cheating, Sharon Moore cheating on his wife. The other count of cheating is what Michigan did because, and here's some more rumors. This part is a rumor, but it seems credible. It's not like they found this in one day and fired him the same day. I'm sure they went through an investigation and tried to disprove this. But allegedly, University of Michigan knew about this relationship before National Signing Day. And National Signing Day is obviously one of the biggest, if not the biggest day in recruiting for college football. You find out where the top players are going to be going. And yeah, just ask, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. Just ask any team who lost their coach. It's a lot harder to recruit when you're between coaches because the players who want to go there don't know who they're going to be playing for. So that was cheating on Michigan's part if that rumor is true, which I believe sounds credible because even the athletic director said following a university investigation, credible evidence was obtained. This would have had to take some time to obtain. Maybe they came to that conclusion afterwards, but it sounds like they knew about this for a while. But yeah, here's where it gets sad and unfortunate and gets to a point where I shouldn't make jokes. Sharon Moore, later yesterday, he was detained by police in Saline, Michigan, and he was turned over to police in Pittsfield Township for investigation into potential charges. Those charges are completely unrelated to, you're not going to get, it is against university policy to bang a staffer, but it's not illegal. Unfortunately, it's not illegal to cheat on your wife. Maybe it should be. I think it should be. That's a conversation for another podcast. But yeah, the charges, we don't have the charges officially. The police said they're not going to release that information publicly. We might get that information tomorrow. I believe he is expected to appear in court on Friday. But to continue doing damage to my own reputation by continually talking rumors on this show, rumor is Sharon did not take the news well. And I don't know who it was, but I believe one of the charges may have been assault. I don't know if he got into it with his wife, with the staffer. But yeah, Sharon, who would react well to that news? The same, in the same breath, you're fired from your university, it goes public, and everyone knows that the reason was your inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, with a staff member. So yeah, unfortunately, Sharon, and again, no one would take that news well, did not take it well, may have assaulted someone. I even heard a rumor that he may have, assaulted himself. He may have harmed himself, may have been contemplating suicide. Obviously horrible. You don't wish that upon anybody. So I sincerely hope Sharon is okay. I hope he's not injured in any way. I hope no one involved was injured. And yeah, your mental health is definitely gonna suffer a lot. That is a lot to take in, to know millions of people heard about your situation, and yeah, they all heard that you cheated on your wife. So yeah, unfortunate. But yeah, that's what happened. Apparently, Sharon cheated, and potentially Michigan cheated by not saying this information earlier. But yeah, Michigan, known cheaters. They cheated in the sign stealing Connor Stallions, Jim Harbaugh saga, and now their coach is doing it, and potentially they did it to try and keep the myth alive that he was still going to be the coach next year. But yeah, I don't know how to. I don't want to make light. I probably made light of it a little bit, but let's change the subject to something maybe a little lighter. Random Lane Kiffin story. Again, rumor. I heard from a very credible source, some random dude on TikTok, an interesting Lane Kiffin story that to some makes him look like a hero, to others makes him look kind of creepy. But allegedly, story is so crazy. Lane Kiffin walked out of a hotel room with 3 blondes, and some guy walks up to him and said, "Hey, what'd you get into last night, Lane?" And Lane Kiffin responded, "Each of them." Again, I don't know if that's true, but it sounds true. It sounds very believable. Were they all college girls? Probably. That's been a lot of the a lot of how the Oxford students have been dragging Kiffin after he unceremoniously left them before even getting a chance to play in the college football playoff. Yeah, a lot of ladies, a lot of students at Oxford at Ole Miss University. They were posting their DMs with Lane Kiffin, saying, "Yeah, Lane Kiffin slid into my DMs." So, yeah, technically not illegal, Lane, to be hooking up with college chicks. A little unethical, probably. Yeah, probably. And again, each of them in that story. What'd you get into? Each of them. Again, kind of creepy, but kind of a bar. Let's be honest. That's kind of a bar. That's kind of hard. That's kind of tough. But yeah, that's the comedic relief for a potentially very sad situation with Sharon. That the comedic relief being Lane Kiffin there. In other coaching news, Penn State, they finally hired a coach. Penn State, they were probably waiting out on Lane Kiffin. That's probably why it took them so long to hire someone. But they have decided to hire former Iowa State head coach Matt Campbell. Don't know much about Matt Campbell. Didn't watch a lot of Iowa State this year. I'm just here to to talk about that news. I don't know how I'm talking right now. But yeah, I have no further comment on Penn State's hiring. I heard it was good. That's my comment. That's my take. I heard Campbell's a good coach, and yeah, decent hire for Penn State there. But let's continue talking some college football, and something that, to quote the king, is drawing my ire. Bama, they constantly draw my ire, but particularly this week after the college football playoff committee selected the teams for the playoff, which leads me to my question: did Bama bribe the committee? Absolutely. Bama has a ton of boosters. Bama has been known for paying their players before NIL even existed, before it was even legal. They were out here paying dudes, and I think that's for certain. But yeah, it seems that Bama may have bribed the committee because Notre Dame got snubbed. Bama is in as the 9 seed, and Miami is in as the 10 seed. 11-12 are Tulane and JMU. They were automatic bids from their conference champion wins. Obviously, probably not top 12 teams otherwise. But yeah, Bama remains at number 9. I do think it was the right decision to move Miami ahead of Notre Dame. And that's because Miami beat Notre Dame. But how did Bama not move? Bama lost 28-7 against Georgia in the SEC championship game. And it really wasn't that close. It wasn't as close as a 21-point game. They got shit waxed. They got flummoxed. They were flabbergasted against Georgia. They had no idea what to do. And they were ranked number 9 in that game. And they're still ranked number 9 right now. And they're in the college football playoffs. Just ridiculous, just hypocritical from the playoff committee, because BYU did the same thing. They played Texas Tech in the Big 12 championship, and the same thing happened to them. They got shit waxed. They got clowned. They lost by a lot of points. Maybe they lost by more points, but I don't think that's relevant how many points. Both of them got their ass kicked, but only one of them dropped. BYU was at 11. They moved down to, I believe, 13 or 14. They dropped a couple spots. Bama didn't move at all. Texas Tech is almost, if not just as good as Georgia. Georgia number 3, Texas Tech number 4. Yes, both are bye week teams. Both are top 4 teams in the college football playoff, but they kick both these teams' asses. Why does BYU drop and Bama doesn't? I've heard the argument that, oh, Bama already beat Georgia. That's why they didn't drop. But you didn't drop one single spot, not one. They couldn't have at least done Miami the courtesy of putting them at 9 and Bama at 10. This is ridiculous. Yeah, Bama already beat Georgia. Bro, they just got dominated by Georgia. I don't get it. We need justice for Notre Dame. Notre Dame only had 2 losses. Bama had 3 losses. Notre Dame's only 2 losses were at the hands of teams that are currently in the playoff. Same for BYU. They had 2 losses. Both were to Texas Tech, but Texas Tech, great team in the playoff. What do the games matter? Bama can have 3 losses, and these 2-loss teams get left out above them. And it's because the committee either got bribed or because they love the Bama brand. They think they're going to bring in all this, money to the college football playoffs. But it's just ridiculous. They beat Georgia, but they also got their ass kicked by FSU. Florida State is not a good team. That was one of the worst losses suffered by a playoff team. And yeah, all I can say is investigate the committee. This is ridiculous. Bama should not be in. Justice for Notre Dame. I am really sorry to my auntie Julie, who's a Notre Dame alum. You got screwed. I don't know what else to tell you. Notre Dame, kind of being a sourpuss about it. They declined their invite to the bowl game. They're going scorch earth, talking shit to the ACC and whatnot. They're saying, we're never going to play in the ACC now. Maybe they're pissed at Duke. I was happy that Duke won, but not happy that Bama's in. But speaking of Duke, let me talk about the team Duke got into the playoffs, the Dukes. Is JMU cooked? Is James Madison University cooked? Yes, I think they're definitely cooked. Now, I did have a little bit of hope for the underdog, and a lot of people make a good point that you shouldn't be mad about Bama getting in. You should be mad about Tulane and JMU getting in. Well, I'm not mad about Tulane and JMU making the playoff because I love the underdog. I want to see one of these teams do something crazy and pull off the upset. But yeah, it is looking bad for James Madison especially. And Tulane, they already got their ass kicked by the team they're playing in Ole Miss. But JMU is especially cooked. Like I said, they got that 12 seed, the last team in the playoffs, automatically qualified after winning the Sun Belt Championship and being the highest ranked conference champion left. Shout out Duke, man. Duke goes out and beats Virginia after getting in the championship on a 6-way tie. Just ridiculous. Just cinema. They do an overtime. We'll have one of those moments in the top 10 this week. But yeah, I'm happy JMU is in the playoffs, but they will be playing Oregon, number 5 seed Oregon, 12 versus 5. They say there's always there's a voice crack for it. They say there's always a 12-5 matchup. There's always a 12 over a 5 in March Madness. So maybe that will apply to the college football madness here. But yeah, Oregon is 21.5-point favorites, and they should probably be even bigger favorites than that now. And I don't know if Vegas would take this into consideration, but they should be even bigger favorites because a James Madison player, after winning the championship, was seen, and I'm quoting, flicking up with a geek. There's a picture of it. The picture's kind of dope. And if you have no idea what flicking up with a geek means, he took a picture, I believe, next to the championship trophy, but he took a picture with a geek bar. And if you're not familiar with geek bars, they are vapes. They have all the different flavors. Shout out Meta Moon Geek Bars, my favorite vape flavor of all time. I was heavily addicted to geek bars for a while. I'm currently in the process of trying to switch over to nicotine pouches. And so should this JMU player. I don't even know what his name is, but the fact that we saw him taking a picture with a vape, not a good sign for James Madison, not a good sign for their game against Oregon. Like I said, I thought they had a chance, and then I saw this picture of him with the geek bar. I'm like, they have no chance. It's over. Wrap it up. That's really unfortunate. And I will say it was a dope picture. He had a nice French inhale with the vape, took the picture at the perfect time. But yeah, looking like Oregon's going to run away with that one. And yeah, Tulane is probably also cooked. Tulane sneaks in as the AAC champion, the 11 seed. They are going to Oxford. They're playing number 6 Ole Miss, who they already played this year. They lost 45-10 in that game. Now they are 17.5-point dogs in Oxford in the playoffs round 1. So unfortunately, Tulane is also probably cooked. Speaking of cooked, the MLB. The MLB is cooked, which is why I'm asking, can we go on strike? Can we go on strike? Can we start the MLB lockout? Now, selfishly, as a recently gotten back in the sport MLB fan, I kind of want a lockout, not only because it would help my small market Brewers team, but also a shortened season would be kind of dope. Imagine if we had like an 80 game, 60 game MLB season. The games mean twice as much if you cut it down. But yeah, we're going to need a salary cap. We're going to need to go on strike here. I don't care that Bryce Harper's in the dugout with a bat saying, if you want to talk about a lockout, if you want to talk about a salary cap, get the F out of here. He said that to the commissioner, of course. But yeah, we might need to go on strike because Edwin Diaz signed with the Dodgers. Now, Edwin Diaz, widely considered the best closer in baseball 2 years ago, might not be the best closer in baseball at the moment, but he can definitely get back to that level. He's got as much potential as anyone. And the guy who we thought was the best closer in baseball was gambling. Emmanuel Clase, he got caught gambling. I guess not confirmed. He's still going through court. I believe he pled not guilty. But yeah, with him probably being banned for life for betting, Edwin Diaz is right up there for best reliever in baseball. Dodgers signed him to a 3-year, $69 million deal at $23 million a year. That is the highest annual average value for a reliever ever. Damn. That's why I'm wearing my Angels jersey today, because we need Shohei Ohtani back on the Angels. I felt bad for Shohei when he was on the Angels. I'm like, he's the best player in baseball. He can't even make the playoffs. I wish I hadn't thought that, because now he's about to go back to back to back. Obviously, he won the last 2 World Series, and with Edwin Diaz, they're going to win a third, because that was literally the one area of deficiency the Dodgers had was their relief, their bullpen. And now they add Edwin Diaz, who will probably revamp his career, probably be the best closer in baseball again. And yeah, to put it in perspective, they're paying him $23 million a year. These other teams are shelling out all the money they have, these small market teams, all the money they have, like the Orioles. The Orioles finalized a 5-year, $155 million contract. Alonso leaves the Mets and goes to the Orioles. A loaded AL East gets even better. And that's where it's like a franchise cornerstone is kind of what the Orioles are after here in Alonso. And he's making $30 million. Like, Alonso's probably going to be their highest paid player. And he's only making $7 million more than the Dodgers closer, who's the richest closer ever. Same thing with the Phillies. The Phillies finalized a 5-year, $150 million contract. The NL MVP runner-up, one of the best home run hitters in the league, returns to Philadelphia. And yeah, I like the signing, but it all feels it feels like it's all for naught, because the Dodgers are going to repeat. Start the lockout. Start the lockout now, Rob Manfred. We got to do it. But yeah, speaking of closers, Robert Suarez signed with the Atlanta Braves today. 3 years, $45 million. Great closer. $15 million a year. That's $8 million less than Diaz. I don't know. I'm completely sour grapes here, especially after the Dodgers beat my team. But yeah, let's go on strike. Let's start this lockout. Let's help out a small market team like the Brewers. But let's move on to a bit of a time travel question. Is it 2012? Is it 2012? We've had some news this week that has made me doubt my perception of time because Jason Pierre-Paul signed with the Buccaneers practice squad. Jason Pierre-Paul is 36 years old. Now, that's not surprising to me. Jason Pierre-Paul, great player. If he's been working out, I do think he can get in football shape and contribute to this Bucs team, especially from a leadership locker room standpoint. But the thing that really brought everyone back in time is Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers signed with the Colts practice squad at age 44. Age 44. The age 44 part isn't as crazy because, I could see a world where Tom Brady, gets out of the broadcasting booth and, plays another 6 games or whatever, which is what kind of Rivers is attempting to do here. But the crazier part is Rivers hasn't played in 5 years. He hasn't played since the year 2020. What a horrible year that was. But yeah, it might be 2012. Philip Rivers is back in the league. The Patriots and Broncos are at the top of the AFC. Aaron Rodgers is the 4 seed. Pete Carroll's still coaching. The Packers still own the Bears. Matthew Stafford's playing at an MVP level. Jets are still the Jets. The Chiefs are mid. The Cowboys are average. Seahawks and Niners are at the top of their division. Your childhood is not over yet. We will get to see Philip Rivers. I hope we don't. I really hope he doesn't start a game because I'm worried for his safety. I don't know how much more brittle your bones get, when you go from age 39 to 44, but it's more so the fact that he hasn't taken a hit like that since 2020. I am just worried. I hope he stays safe, especially after Colts beat reporter Stephen Holder is quoted as saying, 2 days in now, my time in the building this week has left me only more convinced that Philip Rivers is this week's starting quarterback. It isn't difficult to tell who a team is prepping to start. That player is Rivers, period. Obviously, they had to sign Philip Rivers after the unfortunate news that Daniel Jones tore his Achilles. But when Daniel Jones' backup, Riley Leonard, came in the game, he got hurt too. So they were left with no options. And the Colts right now, they are tied for the 7th seed. They're currently on the outside looking into the playoffs, but they could still win their division. They could still sneak in as a wild card. And that's what the Colts are trying to do here with Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers, who, by the way, is older than his head coach, older than his offensive coordinator. But yeah, unfortunate news for Daniel Jones, but I'm excited to see Philip Rivers, but I don't know. I don't want him to get hurt, so I don't know how excited I should be. I hope he stays safe, but yeah, if Rivers plays this week, I am so worried for him. The Colts are playing the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks this week, one of the best defenses in football right now. If you can't see the fear on my face, if you're listening on Spotify, I'm terrified. I don't know. I hope they do everything they can to protect Philip Rivers. Philip, just do the smart thing. Hand the ball off to Jonathan Taylor 25 times. Don't even drop back to pass. Just fake a pass maybe. Don't pray for Philip Rivers is essentially what I'm saying here. And weird transition to the rest of the NFL news I wanted to mention. Pray for Brian Branch. He also tore his Achilles, the star safety for the Lions. Really unfortunate news. Trey Hendrickson likely done for the year. They said it's a 6-week injury. I suppose if the Bengals make the playoffs and go on a run, he could come back. That just seems very unlikely, though. Joe Burrow apparently, is not loving the football, which I don't blame him for. He's had a tough go of it these last couple years, but yeah, that's unfortunate for the Bengals. Heal up soon, Trey, and heal up soon, TJ Watt, who is the second Steelers player this week who had to go to the hospital. DK Metcalf, I believe, got hit in the stomach on Sunday night, had to spend the night in Baltimore. I believe he's back in Pittsburgh now, so hoping he heals up and hoping TJ Watt heals up. He's currently in the hospital right now with lung discomfort. He might have broke a rib and punctured a lung. We don't know the exact extent of the injury, but yeah, that's unfortunate for him. And only other piece of NFL news I had was that the Bills placed Darius Slay on the reserve/did not report list. Darius Slay claimed by the Bills didn't really want to play, also contemplating retirement. But yeah, shout out Darnell Savage, the former Packer safety. I guess I thought he was on the Jags. He was apparently on the Commanders. But yeah, the Bills add Darnell Savage as they, are not able to get Darius Slay. Different positions, but both defensive backs, both veterans in the league. So, yeah, good move for the Bills there. And who knows, maybe Darius Slay will change his mind and we'll see some playoff Slay for the Bills in the playoffs. But yeah, I gotta start shortening these shows. We're over 30 minutes already. Comment below if you prefer a shorter show. I'll try to clean it up some. But yeah, let's get to the first segment of the day, which is always First Year Interruption. Today we are being interrupted by Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski, upon hearing this Phillip Rivers news, of course, the interview he was doing, they're like, hey, Phillip Rivers came back. Would you? And Gronk had an interesting response. So let's listen to what Rob Gronkowski has to say.
Robert Kraft made a comment to you about playing that night, and you said, hey, what's the signing bonus, right? Now that you see 44-year-old Phillip Rivers coming back after 5 years away, if Kraft calls you, you've got no excuse, dude. Could you come back and give them a series, a game, a playoff run if they need you in New England?
You want to know something? I can give them looks on the practice squad. Seeing Phillip Rivers signed to the practice squad, which makes sense. You got to get him game ready, and then you can pull him up anytime. But I would maybe go back if a team was like, hey, can you give us some great looks on the scout team? And we're going to pay you a legitimate bonus, like $1 million or something bonus right on the spot. And all you got to do is practice Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday on the practice squad and show us some legitimate looks of the tight ends that we're going against and just go out there and practice and have fun and get our guys better. That actually might be a pretty cool case. I might have to think about that. The chance of that happening are 1%, but I would have to just think about it and lay my options on the table.
I would not be surprised if head coaches around the league are like, wait a minute, we should maybe consider that.
She's right. You might want to consider that. Maybe the Packers will consider it after losing Tucker Kraft. Just for scout team, no disrespect to Fitzpatrick or Musgrave or who's the other guy. I don't think we have Ben Sims anymore. Apologies to our third string tight end for not knowing your name. But yeah, Rob seeing Phillip Rivers here, it's like, Gronk, not known as a smart guy, actually known patently as a dumb guy. But yeah, he didn't go as far as Rivers saying he wants to play, but he's like, I'll go on a practice squad. I'll play scout team. You give me $1 million signing bonus, I'm in, So yeah, I think it would be good for the scout team. And yeah, that would be interesting. That would be hilarious if an NFL team did that. Now, I don't know if any team's going to really want to pay $1 million for a practice squad guy, but I don't know. People have probably played more. I guess, how much is Rivers getting paid? How much is Rivers getting paid? 10. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find this. 2.5 million, I believe. Yeah, or that might have been old. Whatever. It doesn't matter because Rivers is still on the practice squad, but sounds like he's going to be elevated, and I hope he doesn't play against. I think Riley Leonard with an injury is going to be a better safety than a fully healthy Phillip Rivers. But hey, who knows what will happen with Rivers? Apparently, he's been coaching his son's high school team. Yes, high school team. Rivers has like 10 kids. I guess one of them's in high school. I think Rivers is a grandpa, one of the first ever grandpas to play in the NFL. But he had been coaching his son's high school team, and evidently he had been running the Colts offense. So kind of savvy move there from Rivers to be running that Colts offense. Maybe he was prepared for this all along. Maybe he's just sitting there. He's like, let me just wait until Daniel Jones turns into a pumpkin, and maybe I can come back for a playoff run. I guess they wouldn't have been in position to go to a playoff run if Jones hadn't been the opposite of a pumpkin to start the year. But boy, am I rambling. Just say a prayer for Phillip Rivers, y'all. Hoping he does well. Hoping he pulls the upset of Seattle. I don't think he will. I really don't. And yeah, I'm just praying he gets out of that game healthy. But yeah, let's get to our next segment, the top 10 Goosebump moments of the week. Everybody's favorite moment of the week. And at number 10, we're going to start it off with Tommy Rittenhouse, an Illinois State converting on 4th down and then going for 2 to upset North Dakota State in the FCS playoffs.
Rittenhouse looking, can take off if he wants to, trying to buy time, lofts, touchdown! Sobkowitz in the back corner. Rittenhouse caught by Presson, the 2-point conversion, and the Redbirds for the first time today snatch the lead.
Number 9, Alex Highsmith sacks Lamar Jackson to clinch a Steelers W.
Here you
Take
go.
the outcut right away. They're taking
7 seconds. They're running after him, and they get to him. They end the game with a sack. Highsmith ends it.
Number 8, Keyshawn Nixon with the game-ending pick in the end zone for the Packers.
On the fake. Williams looking, throwing. It is intercepted. Keyshawn Nixon and the Packers will win it.
Number 7, DJ Reed with an acrobatic interception to cap off a Lions win.
Fires over the middle, and that is going to be picked off. DJ Reed has his moment.
Number 6, Tony Jefferson with the walk-off INT in OT as the Chargers win a weird one.
Hurts keeps, throws, batted up and picked off. Intercepted. And the Chargers win the ball game.
Number 5, an OT of the ACC Championship, Duke sends the Dukes to the playoffs.
Threw it back to Mars. It is intercepted. Intercepted by Luke Margot. And Duke has won the ACC.
Number 4, Keyshawn Robinson hits the fadeaway 3 to send it to OT for New Hampshire.
Step back 3 for the tie. He hits! He hits! Improbably, we're going to overtime.
Number 3, Rui Hachimura hits the corner 3 at the buzzer for the win. Lakers.
In the corner for the win. Hachimura. The three-pointer.
Number 2, Rob Wright cashes in the 3 at the buzzer to cap off the comeback for BYU.
To inbound. Right. Got it! Robert Wright III wins it for the Cougars.
Number 1 moment of the week, VJ Edgecombe gets the game-winning putback. Tyrese Maxey goes off the backboard for the game-winning block. What?
Tyrese Maxey to win the game. And it goes! DeAnthony Melton blocked! And the Sixers win it! In South Philly!
Oh my gosh, the reaction from that kid is priceless. That kid, I think, was actually a Warriors fan. At the first reaction, you just see him going, what? You know, you thought maybe he could have been a Sixers fan. Then you see him do the surrender cobra. Oh, nope, Warriors fan. Yeah, what a ridiculous play. Probably the coolest NBA play I've seen. You know, Maxey misses the shot. VJ Edgecombe cleans it up, gets the putback layup, and the crazy part was Edgecombe kind of started to celebrate a little bit after that, but there was still 0.9 seconds on the clock. He celebrated for a split second, kept running. If you go back and watch that play, look where Tyrese Maxey came from. Maxey misses that shot, kind of goes back, almost takes a seat on the bench. They make it 0.9, and Maxey sprints 80 feet or whatever and goes LeBron on him. He hits the game-winning block at the buzzer off the backboard. Just ridiculous. A lot of ridiculous things happening in this week's top 10. Rob Wright and that BYU, they were down like 20. And then they hit the 3 at the buzzer to win it. And shout out my king, my glorious king, LeBron. He had the assist on that Rui Hachimura buzzer-beating 3. And LeBron was at 8 points at the time. LeBron could have gone and tried to get his streak and get the game winner at the same time, but he didn't. He made the right play. He continues to own LeBronto, as they call it. And yeah, that's my glorious king. He doesn't care about records. He cares about winning the game. I'm really sad we lost the NBA Cup yesterday, but it doesn't matter. We'll be back next year for the NBA Cup. But yeah, Lee Selfless gave up his record in order to win the game. But yeah, and again, shout out Duke. Duke sending the Dukes to the playoffs. And yeah, shout out the Packers beating the Bears. We still own you. We still own you. But let's finish out the show here, which apparently has gone over 40 minutes. These are supposed to be half an hour. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I'm rambling. Maybe I think I have more to say than I should. That's an example of probably why the show has gone too long for dumb little asides like this. But let's finish out the show with my TNF pick. Thursday night football on redacted video. I think Prime is charging me like $18 a month. I'm getting robbed by them. Bezos, got to lower your prices. I don't know. The Netflix is turning into a monopoly now with... Okay, another random aside. So let's get to the game. The TNF pick. Falcons at Buccaneers tonight. Unfortunately, you might be listening to this after the game already happened. Got to do a better job of picking these a day before, so maybe you have a chance to bet on it. But yeah, bet on the Buccaneers if you get a chance. It is home in Tampa Bay. Buccaneers 5.5-point favorites, and that's going to be my pick. Bucks minus 5.5. I think this is I know this is a get-right game for the Bucks. I hate the Falcons. I don't hate them as people, but I hate watching them. I hate how their team operates. They're just a kind of a depressing franchise to an extent. But yeah, I hate the Falcons. Definitely not more than their fans probably hate them. But yeah, I don't see, the Bucs are in that division race with the Panthers right now. I don't see the Bucs going out like this. I do think they win the division, and this is one they have to have. So I think they win this one decisively. Baker Mayfield will cook. He might even bake as well. I do think the Bucs cover, but I think Kirk O'Chains in Atlanta will put up somewhat of a valiant effort. I do have the Bucs by a touchdown at least, though. And yeah, we'll see what Kirk O'Chains can do. Again, I do think he's going to lose, but maybe Kirk makes this game entertaining enough in the first half to say something cheesy like, Baker? I hardly know her.